Good morning, students. In the previous videos, you have seen up to page number 52 of chapter 5 Indigo, and now in this video we are going to discuss from chapter 5 page number 53. Events justified Gandhi's position. Till now you have read that Gandhi was able to get 25% of the compensation back through the planters or the landlords, and it was a great achievement, and all the peasants, they felt courageous to get this, and they realized that the landlords or britishers were not above law, and they are also required to follow the laws and rules. Now, events justified Gandhi's position. Within a few years, the British planters abandoned their estates, which reverted to the peasants. Indigo sharecropping disappeared. So, now what happened after a few years? The British planters, they abandoned, that means left their estates. They left those places, and now those estates, those farms came to the peasants, and indigo sharecropping disappeared. Gandhi never contented himself with large political or economic solutions. So, till now, I hope you have understood that Gandhi was able to get economic upliftment of that area, of that region, of the peasants who were the residents of Champaran. But he was not contented, he was not satisfied with only political or economic solutions. He saw the cultural and social backwardness in the Champaran villages and wanted to do something about it immediately. So he was not satisfied with just economic upliftment. He wanted some social and cultural upliftment of the place to be done. He appealed for teachers. Mahadev Desai and Narhari Parikh, two young men who had just joined Gandhi as disciples, and their wives volunteered for the work. So, when Gandhi demanded the teachers, namely Mahadev Desai, Narhari Parikh, and two more young disciples of Gandhi, they joined the work as volunteers, and their wives as well. Several more came from Bombay, Pune, and other distant parts of the land. Devadas, Gandhi's youngest son, arrived from the ashram, and so did Mrs. Gandhi. Primary schools were open in 6 villages. Kasturbai taught the ashram rules on personal cleanliness and community sanitation. People of that area did not have any awareness about personal hygiene, personal cleanliness, and the cleanliness of the surroundings. So, Gandhi Gandhi called all these people, and he opened up 6 villages, and Kasturbai, his wife, as well as other people, they taught the rules of ashram, that is personal cleanliness, hygiene, sanitation, to the poor, illiterate villagers. Health conditions were miserable. Gandhi got a doctor to volunteer his services for 6 months. So now, because the health condition was also very poor, so Gandhi requested a doctor to volunteer his services for 6 months. Three medicines were available: castor oil, quinine, and sulfur ointment. Anybody who showed a coated tongue was given a dose of castor oil. Anybody with malaria fever received quinine plus castor oil. Anybody with skin eruptions received ointment plus castor oil. So these were the castor oil, quinine, and sulfur, and and a combination of these three medicines was given to people with different types of ailments. Gandhi noticed the filthy state of women's clothes. He asked Kasturbai to talk to them about it. One woman took Kasturbai into her hut and said, "Look, there is no box or cupboard here for clothes. The sari I am wearing is the only one I have." So now Gandhi noticed that the women or the people of that area, they were wearing dirty, filthy clothes. He asked Kasturbai to talk to them, talk to those ladies, and tell them about the cleanliness, washing their clothes, etc. So actually it was not possible because these people were so poor they could not afford to have even two pair of clothes. One woman showed Kasturbai inside her hut that she had only one sari, the one which she was wearing, so how can she wash that? During his long stay in Champaran, Gandhi kept a long distant watch on the ashram. While in Champaran, Gandhi did not forget his duties towards ashram. He still kept a long distance watch, his keen observation upon the ashram. He sent regular instructions by mail and asked for financial accounts. So he used to send regular mails and would ask for one or the other thing about the accounts and all. Once he wrote to the residents that it was time to fill in the old latrine trenches and dig new ones, otherwise, the old ones would begin to smell bad. Nowadays, we have sewerage lines and we are not required to dig up trenches. But in the olden days, there were no sewage lines. So, uh, Gandhi sent a letter to the ashram telling the residents that they were supposed to fill the old latrine trenches and dig the new ones, otherwise the old ones would start smelling bad. So he could even keep such a distant watch upon the ashram. The Champaran episode was a turning point in Gandhi's life. Thus, this Champaran episode became a turning point in Gandhi's life because it was for the first time in this Champaran episode he could realize that civil disobedience can win because he has seen that practically. What I did, he explained, was a very ordinary thing. I declared that the British could not order me about in my own country. So it was the first time that Gandhi practiced civil disobedience and it won laurels, it brought him a victory. So he could feel that this can be applied throughout the nation and he can bring victory to the nation as well. But Champaran did not begin as an act of defiance. Actually, he did not intend to, he did not wish to defy the laws, defy the rules. It grew out of an attempt to alleviate the distress of large numbers of poor peasants. He had come there to alleviate, to reduce, to remove the distress, the problems of large numbers of poor peasants. So he had come to um, relieve the poor peasants from the problems which they were facing. This was the typical Gandhi pattern. His politics were intertwined with the practical day to day problems of the millions. So that this is how Gandhi used to work. His politics were intertwined, means interlinked. It was connected with the practical day to day problems of the millions. His was not a loyalty to abstractions, it was a loyalty to living human beings. It's not that he was loyal, he was working for abstract things which are not practically visible. Rather, he was working for or he was loyal to the living beings or the human beings. In everything Gandhi did, moreover, he tried to mold a new free Indian who could stand on his own feet and thus make India free. So Gandhi was working in that direction that all the Indians can become self independent, they can stand on their feet and thus help in making India free. Early in the Champaran action, Charles Frere Andrews, the English pacifist who had become a devoted follower of the Mahatma, came to bid Gandhi farewell before going on a tour of duty to the Fiji Islands. So Charles Frere Andrews, he was a pacifist, but he was a devout follower of Mahatma Gandhi. And he came to meet Gandhi and bid him farewell when he was going to Fiji Islands. Gandhi's lawyer friends thought it would be a good idea for Andrews to stay in them. Now, they became a bit greedy. Gandhi's friends, lawyer friends, they thought that if this Britisher is on our side while we are fighting against the government, then it would be really helpful to them. Andrews was willing if Gandhi agreed. Andrews, uh, he was also interested, and he was willing to support, to help, but he wanted Gandhi's permission. But Gandhi was vehemently opposed. But Gandhi completely opposed it, adamantly opposed this idea. He said, "You think that in this unequal fight, it would be helpful if we have an Englishman on our side. This shows the weakness of your heart. The cause is just, and you must rely upon yourselves to win the battle." But Gandhi opposed and told the lawyer friends that, why do you want this Englishman on our side? Why do you want that? You must be self dependent. You must depend upon yourself, rely upon yourself. If you wish that this Englishman should be on our side, it means, it shows that you are weak at your heart, you are not strong enough. So you should rely upon yourselves, and you should not seek a prop in Mr. Andrews because he happens to be an Englishman. He had read our minds correctly, Rajendra Prasad comments, and we had no reply. Gandhi, in this way, taught us a lesson in self reliance. Self reliance, Indian independence, and help to sharecroppers were all bound together. So, Rajendra Prasad, who later became the President of India, he recalls it that Gandhi had made us self reliant. He had taught us a lesson to be self dependent, and thus India became self reliant and independence and help to sharecroppers were all bound together. So that's all.